Good morning. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Natalia Leigh. I'm the managing editor at Enchanted Ink Publishing, and I also write spicy romance under the pen name Emberly Links. And I'm pretty excited to sit down and talk to you today and start filming this vlog, because it's going to be the first vlog of NaNoWriMo 2.0 2025. Did I write? Oh my gosh. I just realized I wrote NaNoWriMo 2026 in my bullet journal for some reason. So that's where my head is at today. NaNoWriMo 2.0 2025. It is not 2026 yet. So for anybody who doesn't know, the original founder of NaNoWriMo has kind of come back, I believe, with a group of writers and volunteers to put together a Nano 2.0, because the actual NaNoWriMo organization closed its doors early this year, I want to say. And last year there was a lot of drama about it. In years prior, there had been a lot of drama, just kind of questionable decisions made by the staff of NaNoWriMo. And it just ended up resulting in that organization needing to close down. And when I heard that NaNoWriMo had closed down, I was really disappointed, because Nano has been such a huge part of my author journey. I can remember when I heard about it, oh my gosh, many years ago, over a decade ago, before I even wrote my first book. I was on a writing forum and somebody had mentioned NaNoWriMo, and I said, "What is that?" And she introduced me to this concept of writing a 50,000 word book in 30 days, and I was absolutely hooked. And NaNoWriMo is what helped me to finish my first ever book, Highborn. I remember being home from college and sitting at my mom's kitchen table while she and my sister were like watching Christmas movies or something, and just writing and writing and writing, trying to hit that 50K, and I did it. And NaNoWriMo is what really gave me the push I needed to get the words out, to just finish a book. And it really kind of changed my path as an author. And it's also one of the reasons that I have this YouTube channel now. Many years ago, I want to say about 9-10 years ago, I vlogged NaNoWriMo for the first time, and it's one of the ways that people started to find me. And it was what kind of opened the door for me to start connecting with other people on authortube. So again, NaNoWriMo is like a strong foundation of my writer publisher journey. So when I saw on Becca C. Smith's channel that Nano 2.0 is here, I was incredibly excited, and I decided as of this morning that I am going to participate, and I am going to be a NaNoWriMo rebel this year. Kind of. Yes, definitely. I'm gonna be a Nano rebel this year, so I'm not gonna sit down and write a brand new, first draft 50K of a new book. What I am going to do is jump around in a few different projects. So I haven't really sat down and talked to you since my previous vlog, which was the release of book 2 in my Coven Crest Academy series, A Witch and Her Minotaur. Since then, I have been hard at work on book 3, which is A Witch and Her Orc, and it's coming along really well. It was going really slow at one point, like kind of frustratingly slow. I was only getting maybe 500 to 1,200 words per day. And I realized when I looked ahead in my calendar, because A Witch and Her Orc has a publication date of February 3rd, and I plan out all of the steps that I need to do for publication well in advance. So I generally, I plan out my writing of the first draft, my editing passes, the formatting, the proofreading, the ARC copies. I plan all that out. So even though there's a little bit of flexibility, I do know generally how much time I need for each of those steps. And I looked ahead on my calendar and I realized that I was really kind of falling behind with where I needed to be for A Witch and Her Orc. So I started doing morning and evening writing sessions, and I am getting caught up. I'm a little bit behind still. I originally wanted the first draft done on November 3rd. Today is November 1st. So the book is not going to be done on November 3rd, but I think I'm going to be able to get it finished here in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to use NaNoWriMo as an opportunity to do that. So here's my plan for being a rebel, a nano rebel for NaNoWriMo 2.0 this month. First things first, I want to finish the first draft of A Witch and Her Orc. It is currently at about 67,000 words, and these books, my Coven Crest Academy books, books 1 and 2 are about 80,000 words. So that's what I'm going to be aiming for with A Witch and Her Orc, is somewhere in the 80K range. So my estimate is that for NaNoWriMo, I'm going to write between 13 and 20,000 words for A Witch and Her Orc. So that's going to be the number one thing that I want to get done, is finishing that first draft. And then after that, there are 3 other projects that are kind of floating around in my mind. And I want to be able to kind of dabble and have fun and maybe work on one of them or 2 of them, or maybe all 3 of them. So the next project that I might be working on is a pirate mermaid fantasy. I have wanted to write a pirate mermaid book for many years, and I feel like pirates and mermaids are like really having a moment right now. I'm seeing pirate mermaid books everywhere, and I would love to write one. And I have kind of a vague plan for a duology. This is something that I was really getting passionate about this past summer, but then I needed to refocus on Coven Crest Academy because I do have, again, I have a release date planned. I do already know the release date for book 4, even though I don't have it out there yet. But essentially I needed to refocus on that series instead of letting myself start something new. But for Nano, I might let myself kind of start the first rough draft of book 1 in that pirate fantasy. The next project is a co-writing project that I have been kind of planning and discussing with a writer friend of mine. We have been putting together outlines for a few romance books, but we have not started writing them together yet, but we're really close. We have almost the entire outline done for the first book in that series, and then we've, kind of been piecing together other parts of the outlines for the other 3 books, but we're like this close to being able to dive into book 1. So that might be something that I dabble with this month as well. And then the last project that I might want to work on, maybe, we'll see, I might be getting ahead of myself, is book 4 in my Coven Crest Academy series. I have not revealed the title anywhere, so I just wrote A Witch and Her ... because I have not revealed what that title is or the blurb or the tropes or anything. But I did sit down this past weekend and I finished the outline for book 4. I had originally planned to do the outline after I finished A Witch and Her Orc, but I just had some ideas. And while I was sitting with my husband watching a little bit of Netflix, I put together the outline and I'm really happy with it. But I do a little bit of discovery writing as well once I get into a draft, so that always results in outlines changing as I go along. But I do have that outline ready. So if I want to spend more time at my Magical Witches Academy after I finish A Witch and Her Orc, I could potentially start working on the first draft of the 4th book. I almost just said what the title is. So yeah, those are the 4 projects that are potentials for my Nano 2.0 journey. A Witch and Her Orc is definitely gonna be number 1 though. That's the one that I have to get done. So that is where we are today. Also, it's a bit of an exciting day. I am going to a book signing for one of my editing clients slash author friends, Rachel Hetrick. She is about, I don't know, I think she's like an hour or an hour and a half from me, but we live so far away from like everything that even that feels like, hey, like you're just a stone's throw from me. So I'm gonna go to her book signing today. It's about an hour or so away from my house. So I'm gonna be leaving here in, I think, an hour or an hour and a half. So I'm gonna go to her book signing. I am going to pick up a signed copy of her book. It's even more fun because I've edited, I think, 8 books for her now, and we have a couple more scheduled. So I am so familiar with her writing. I absolutely love her stories. So I'm gonna go pick up a signed copy, and then we're gonna grab some lunch together, maybe go to a coffee shop after. So it'll be like a fun author friend day, and maybe we'll get some writing done. We're bringing our laptops, but for anybody who has ever gone to like a writing retreat or author meetup, you probably know that often you just sit and talk to each other instead of actually getting writing done. So we'll see. We're gonna take our laptops. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of writing done. I mean, it is the first day of NaNoWriMo 2.0, so I wanna make sure I get stuff done. I have not written yet today. I wrote late last night. Like I said, you know, I've been doing those morning and evening sessions. So I haven't written yet today, but I plan to get at least 1,667 words today, and I am just so excited that Nano is back in a new capacity, because it's something that I think is so dear to so many writers, and the spirit of the season is so special to me. You know, the spirit of NaNoWriMo and the challenge and the push to just get those 50,000 words out, even if they're not very good. Like I said, NaNoWriMo is what allowed me and pushed me to finish my first ever book. And there were many, many, many abandoned books before that. And I had started to convince myself that I would never finish a book. But NaNoWriMo helped me to do that. So I am glad that we have a new version of this thing that so many of us have loved for so many years. And I'm excited to be doing nano vlogs. So like I said, I'm gonna try to do weekly vlogs throughout NaNoWriMo. Wish me luck. I hope this goes well. And I think 16 minutes is definitely long enough for an intro. So I am going to go maybe do some writing before I leave, and I will bring you along with me, and we'll go see Rachel at her book signing. Hello friends, happy Sunday. I did not touch base with you again after I did my gigantic intro to this video yesterday, but I had such a fun time yesterday going to Rachel's book signing. I intended to take way more footage than I did, but I got a little bit of B-roll of her table and her little spot at the bookstore. It was such a cute bookstore. The signing was at Covered Treasures in Monument, Colorado. I had never been there before, and it was so quaint and so cozy. I ended up buying a book while I was in there to support the bookstore as well. And then afterward, we went and got vegan burritos together, which was awesome. We got to go to my favorite vegan restaurant in Colorado Springs, which is Santana's Vegan Grill, if you are somebody who is in the Springs. So good. So we went and got big burritos, and then it was beautiful yesterday. So we went to a park and sat under this big, beautiful tree, and there were leaves falling everywhere, and it was just a fantastic day. So Rachel, if you're watching this, thank you so much for inviting me to your signing. I had an amazing day. It was a really good time, and I just wish I had gotten more footage, but I didn't. And by the time I got home, because that was, like I said yesterday, about an hour, just over an hour from where I live actually. So by the time I made it back into the area where I live, and then I went grocery shopping and then came home. It was already kind of late. I did not feel like writing again last night, so we started a little tracker here. We're gonna go old school nano tracker, which is so fun because I feel like I haven't done this in a long time. So yesterday I wrote 762 words, and the goal is I think 1,667. I didn't look that up, but I think that's just ingrained in my brain now. So did not hit what I needed to hit yesterday. That's fine. Today I wrote 2,375. So I was in here for, I don't know, maybe 3 hours this morning, just kind of toiling away. It was a slow process this morning, but it felt good. I was just like in my sweatpants, drinking my coffee, having a very slow morning. I spent a few hours at it. Got, like I said, 2,375 words written. I also needed to, this morning, spend a bit more time with my outline because I just broke into Act 3 of my 4-act structure. And if you are interested in how I outline and kind of structure my romance books, I do have a video on it. I will link that down below. It's a rather recent video, and I'm still using that method, so that would be helpful. But I just broke into Act 3, and the transition that I had planned was not going to work. I sat down and looked at it today and I was like, that is just not gonna fly. Like, it's just way too vague. And then I also had too much going on in the scene beat. Like, oh, all of these things need to be happening or need to be alluded to, and we need to start wrapping these things up. And I was like, no. It is way too much. Like, that would have resulted in just all these mini scenes getting stacked on each other, and that is not what I wanted. So it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to structure that chapter. I can't remember what chapter number it is, maybe like 36. I want to say I'm 36 chapters in. So I took time to figure out the structure. Finally, once the structure was done, I was able to get a good chunk of words written. But with the 762 yesterday and then the 2375 today, I'm sitting at 3,137 words for Nano so far, and that is just behind where I need to be. I don't have a calculator in here, and I don't know what 1,667 times 2 is, but I do know that I did it earlier on the calculator, and I'm just shy of where I should be today, but I am feeling really good about where I'm at in my manuscript. And also, this is my first Nano where I have a lot of experience behind me now of writing many words in a day. 1,667 a day for Nanos used to be extremely difficult, really difficult. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of difficult days this month, but with my previous 2 books, and especially A Witch and Her Dragon and The Witch's Spell, and really A Witch and Her Dragon, I was writing a lot a day. I was writing between 2,000 and 2,500 words a day, and I was usually doing that within an hour or 2, just because I have learned and kind of trained myself how to do that. So I'm assuming that getting the 1,667 a day is going to be easier than in years past. Hey, Sosie. But I do know that I will still, obviously, like yesterday, have some shy days too. But I am not really concerned at being a little bit behind now on day 2. I'm fine with that. And I also hit 70,000 words in my manuscript today. But that means that there's only 10,000 more words until we hit 80K, which is kind of my goal for this book. I would say between 80 and 85. I'm feeling like this book is going to run long, which we kind of talked about yesterday. And in the revision process, I might need to focus on brevity instead of being too long-winded in what I'm doing. And also, I know that in my editing pass, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for multiple scenes that are kind of doing the same thing and seeing if I can just combine those in order to save on word count, because I do think I've done a little bit of that in this book. This book is definitely slow burn. It is very low stakes, very cozy fantasy, and I think I have been a little bit potentially meandering, but I won't know for sure until I really get into that revision later this month. But that's where I'm sitting right now on Nano Day 2. I'm excited about my little plan for the month. last night I was thinking about like, oh, once I get A Witch and Her Orc done, maybe I'll go ahead and jump into a very rough first draft of that fantasy pirate mermaid romance. That has just been like percolating in my mind for months and months, so I'm feeling really excited about that. But I will definitely keep you updated as we go along. First things first, gotta finish A Witch and Her Orc, the first draft, and then from there, once I am safely into revision territory, we can start playing with a new book. But yeah, I am going to go and have dinner. Greg is making dinner right now, and I will touch base with you tomorrow on Monday. Bye. Hello everybody, happy Monday. It is Monday, November 3rd. I just finished up my editing work for the day and I wanted to touch base with you. I wrote this morning for about an hour. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I changed my hour window of writing time from 7 to 8 a.m. back. No, I'm sorry. I used to write from 8 to 9. Now I write 7 to 8. And it seems to be really helping. So I write 7 to 8 and then 8 to 9, it's getting ready for the day, having breakfast, feeding the animals, you know, doing what needs to be done before the workday starts. But I did write this morning, 7 to 8. I think I got about 1,300 words written. I didn't write it down anywhere because originally this morning I was planning to write more tonight, but I have to say, my eyes are exhausted today. I talk pretty often on this channel about how I got really bad eye fatigue back in November of 2022, and that has followed me ever since. So there are times where I wish that I could write, or I wish I could play a video game, or watch a show, or read on the Kindle, but I just can't because my eyes get too tired or they get too sore. And today my eyes are very, very tired. I'm not really sure why. I could feel it early this morning while I was getting ready for my day, and it has just kind of followed me through the day. So like I've got an eye that's twitching right now and they feel really tired. So what I do often is warm, damp cloths, and I'll put the cloth on my eyes, and I usually do that 3 times. So I'll lie down for, you know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes with these damp cloth, and that seems to really help with the dryness and the eye fatigue. So I am gonna do that. I'm gonna go outside. We are working on a couple little projects in the house and around the property, and we want to get them finished before winter truly arrives. We have already had our first snow. I don't think I filmed that, but we had our first snow a couple weeks ago. It is, like I already said, early November, but we've only had the 1 snow so far, and we're trying to get some extra projects done before winter truly hits us here. And winter tends to hit us really early because we live so high up in the sky. You know, we're at over 8,000 feet in elevation here, in a mountainous area. So very cold, winter arrives early, and we're trying to get some projects done. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base and let you know that I did write today. I don't know if my eyes are gonna feel up to writing later. Even now, they're just tired. Like, my eyes wanna just be closed. So I'm gonna go outside. When we come back in, I'll do that eye pack or the cloth on my eyes. Maybe have some tea, probably clean up the kitchen. It's a little bit of a mess out there. And I will let you know if I write tonight, but if not, I will meet back up with you tomorrow on Tuesday, November 4th. Bye. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, November 5th, and I am continuing my NaNoWriMo 2.0 journey, and it is 6 p.m. right now. I just had dinner, and I did write this morning, and by the way, this camera is probably going to go in and out of focus, because when I don't have it manually focused, it's just atrocious. Let me manually focus it real quick so that it's not terrible. Okay, hopefully that'll be okay for manual focus. But it is 6 p.m. I did write this morning. Let me look real quick and see how much I wrote. I want to say it was about 1,700. It was so this morning I wrote 1,785 words. It was a really fun scene because, you know, this is book 3 in the series, in my Coven Crest Academy series, and there are things that I set up in book 1 and in book 2 that only now in book 3 are really coming to fruition. And this is the second thing that I set up, and essentially it's just kind of like a side relationship for these side characters, and you meet the side characters. I mean, you meet one of them in book 1, and then you meet another one in book 2, and then you find out in book 3 that they've been having their own, like, later in life secret romance, which is just so fun, and I am so happy for them. So I just got to write that scene where one of the daughters discovers that her mom has been in this secret romance, and she's very happy for her. So that's what I wrote this morning. Like I said, 1,785 words. But it's 6 p.m. and I'm kind of feeling inspired, like I just want to work on it a little bit more. So I think what I'm gonna do is at least try to get a little chunk of the next chapter written, because when I finished this chapter today, I went back to my outline to see, okay, like what are the next few chapters that are coming up, and I realized that yet again I needed to go back in and change my outline. This just is such a part of my process. I will have my outline finished, and then I will revise and revise and revise and revise. It's like this constantly evolving thing for me while I am writing. So this morning I spent like 30 minutes after I was done with my word count, just reworking and reworking the rest of Act 3 and then the first big chunk of Act 4. I didn't rework the entire thing because I felt like kind of mid-Act 4 to the end was good. It's just, again, for me, I have always in my writing struggled with conflict. It's like as if I don't want my characters to have to go through hard things, and I just struggle with it. And looking at my outline, I was like, okay, I don't like this conflict. I didn't like how I was planning on doing it, and I wanted to take time to revisit it and really decide how I was going to handle that conflict in Act 3 and into Act 4. And I feel like the changes I made are going to work. Granted, I won't know for sure until I really, you know, start writing it and determine if it feels true to the story or if I feel like I've kind of gone off the rails and need to bring myself back. This book has done a little bit of that every so often. Like I kind of feel like drifty and I have to pull myself back and really kind of realign with my outline and the goals and kind of intentions of the story. But all that to say, because I just reworked the outline, I do want to write the first little chunk of this next chapter, because I feel like if I don't do it now, sitting down at 7 a.m. tomorrow to try to start a brand new chapter using a fresh outline, I feel like it's going to be tough. So I think I'm going to try to do like 300 words, just get into it a little bit so that it'll be easier for me tomorrow morning. And then if I still feel like writing, I'm honestly having like such inspiration to start writing my pirate mermaid romance. It's just like simmering and waiting. And at one point, I think it was last year, yeah, 2024. Last year, I think, was when I was writing both The Pureblood Queen, which is book 3 in my Pureblood Daughter trilogy, and Little Monster. And I was writing those simultaneously. Pureblood Queen was in the morning, Little Monster was at night. And the reason I was doing that is because I was so excited for Little Monster. And I'm really delighted that that book has kind of caught on. on Amazon. I looked this morning and it has over 600 reviews on it, which is absolutely fantastic because that book was kind of like lost in obscurity for a while, and it was getting no page reads, it was getting no sales, and I was sad about it because I felt like I love the story so much and I wanted other people to love it too. So it's been really exciting to see that people are actually finding that and enjoying it now, but I digress. Anyway, I was able to write those 2 books simultaneously just because I was so excited about Little Monster. And I'm feeling a little bit like that with this pirate mermaid thing that I want to start playing with like, you know, no pressure at all. So I might start playing with it. I feel like Nano season is the perfect time to do something like that. But for now, I'm going to try to just write maybe 200 to 300 words of this next chapter, dip my toes in, kind of prep for tomorrow. And then I will touch base with you either tonight or tomorrow and let you know how it goes.
Hello friends, happy Saturday. It is Saturday, November 8th, which means today I am wrapping up week 1 of NaNoWriMo and wrapping up this vlog. And then I'm also going to be starting my week 2 vlog. But I wanted to let you know how the week went. It was a pretty good week. As of yesterday, the 7th, I am sitting at 11,958 words written. Let's see what I'm supposed to be at. 7 days at 1,667. So I'm supposed to be at 11,669. and I'm at 11,958. So as of yesterday, I'm about 289 words ahead. So I'm staying kind of right there at the pace I need to be at. I did write today already. I wrote this morning, but you will hear about that in next week's vlog. Also, you might hear my husband Greg in the background. He is watching one of the NWSL playoff games, and this is his favorite team, so he's getting really excited out there. So this was a fantastic week, a fantastic first week of Nano. I had days where I wasn't hitting my word count, and then days where I would go over it, and then I wouldn't hit the word count, and then I would go over it. But it pretty much evened out, and like I said, I am right there where I need to be, so I'm really happy about that. Also, I officially hit 80,000 words. Yeah, I'm sitting at 80,534 words in the first draft of A Witch and Her Orc. So this book is longer than book 2, which is A Witch and Her Minotaur, and I still have a lot left to write. I feel like I have between 5,000 to 10,000 words left on this book, probably closer to 10, which is crazy. As Emberly, I have not yet written a 90,000 word book, and this one feels like it's going there. But we've talked about that in this vlog, and how I think I'm gonna have to make things a little bit more concise, because I do feel like it potentially drags in a few spots. But yeah, wonderful first week of Nano. Yesterday, Greg and I finally celebrated our anniversary. We were gonna celebrate our anniversary 4 months ago. But Greg had so much work, I had so much work, that we really just wanted to buckle down and focus on EIP work. And finally, we have gotten out from under all of that mountain of work that we were kind of chipping through, and we were able to take half a day off yesterday. We went to the hot springs, we went and got some vegan food. It was an absolutely wonderful day. So I have a few clips for you from yesterday. So it was really nice to take half a day off, and I was still able to get my writing done. I did half of my word count yesterday morning and then half in the evening when we got home. So really lovely week. You know, I got to go see my friend Rachel. I got to chat with her again today. I have plans next weekend to meet up with somebody, kind of like a new writer-reader friend, and lots of holiday plans, but you will probably see all of that over the next few vlogs, because I do want to vlog all month. So anyway, please let me know if you're participating in NaNoWriMo 2.0, or if you're doing any sort of other November writing challenge. I know that there, like, quite a few have kind of popped up since NaNoWriMo was getting squirrely over the past 2 years. But now that the kind of fresh face of Nano with that original founder has been created, I feel like my home is back. Like, I have found my place again. So let me know if you're participating in Nano or any sort of other challenge. Comment down below. Let me know if you are hitting your word count goals, if you've already fallen behind. I know how that feels. I have done that many, many times on Nano. And I'm gonna go watch a soccer game and then start filming the vlog for week 2. And I will see you back here next week. All right, happy writing. Bye.